In this tutorial, I will focus on how to give a judgment if it is one-to-one or onto a function definition. And I will show you that on three different type of functions definitions: linear, the quadratic, and the absolute. But before, let's first check if the given function is definition or not. Sometimes the given definition is not a function. So if it is not a function, we cannot test the one-to-one or the on-to, because the one-to-one, the on-to, these are two features related to the functions. في الامتحان sometimes they will give you a question. Check first if the given definition is function or not. So you have to read the question carefully. If it is not a function, no need to check the one-to-one and the on-to. So how to check that a given definition is a function or not? The first thing is to know what does it mean function. Function mean every element in the domain has image in codomain. So they will give you a function definition, for example, and they will say from z plus to z minus. That means z plus is your codomain. Z minus is, sorry, this is the domain z plus and الكودومين is z minus. دائما يبدي من الدومين toward الكودومين، المجال والمجال المقابل. Okay, so here the domain in our case is z plus, الكودومين is z minus. This is a function definition if every element in the codomain will give you an image. This image belongs to the codomain. What is the element in a domain? الدومين Z plus معناته 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 plus infinity. If I test every element in a domain here, I will get an image. يعني الimage of F1 is 1. الimage of F2 is 8 minus 3, 5. So every element in a domain and the image. Now I will check, is this image belong to the codomain or not? فأروح إلى F1 for example. I substitute here. I will get 1. 1 belong to Z minus? No. So this is not a function. It is a function if it's from Z to Z. But it is not a function because the domain is Z plus and the codomain is Z minus. And to say that a given definition is not a function, we need just a counter example. ناخذ أي قيمة في الدومين, any number in the domain, and we substitute, and then we will check the image we get for that element belong to the codomain or not. If it is not belong to the codomain, معناته it is not a function. Is that clear how we give a judgment if a given function is definition or not? لازم نركز على هاي الثلاث مفاهيم. domain هو اللي هاي الطرف يكون موجود، الكودومين هو الطرف الثاني، ولازم كل element في الدومين يكون عنده image. This image belong to the codomain. لأن الأونتو شوي مشابه بس بالعكس، فنركز إن كل element في الدومين يكون عنده image. هاي الimage بتكون belong to the codomain. If it is not a function, just give a counter example لأنها universal statement. Now, if the given definition is a function, we will check the feature one-to-one. What does it mean one-to-one? one-to-one mean the image in the codomain. الحين عرفنا شنو معنات كلمة image. لما أسوي substitute حق any element في الدومين، القيمة اللي تطلع أسميها image. يعني if 1 is 1 معناته 1 is image. if 2 is 5 معناته 5 is the image. Okay? Image of 2 نسميها. Now the image in the codomain mapped only to one element in the domain. What does it mean? Let's think about it in this implies statement وراح نستخدمها later on في الchecking. If if A is equal to FB يعني we have the same image لأن if A is image of A, if B معناتها image of B. If we have an image, this image mean that A is equal to B معناتها this image is mapped only to one element in the domain. A يساوي B. This is the same definition بس في symbolic form. عشان توضح الصورة, to make it more clear, let's look over this drawing. This represents a function. The domain of the function is A. The codomain is the set B. شلون عرفت ان هاي الدومين؟ لأن السهم طالع من A toward B. So this is the domain. This is the codomain. You will see here in the codomain side that the images are 3, 7, 1, and 9. The set of images هما هاي القيمة. 3 is mapped only to R. 7 is mapped only to B. 1 is mapped only to M. And 9 is mapped to N. So this is a function that can be described as one-to-one function. If you look over this drawing also represent a function. ليش function؟ لأن كل element في الدومين عنده image. Every element R, B, M, and N. But if you look over the codomain side, you will see that the number 3 is mapped to two elements. 3 is an image to R, and 3 is also image to B. So this is not one-to-one. ليش not one-to-one؟ لأن one-to-one معناته الimage mapped only to one element in the domain. يعني 3 لازم تكون mapped بس إلى 1. 7 تكون mapped only to one element in the domain, and 1 is mapped only to 1. Okay, so this is not one-to-one because 3 is mapped to R and to B, and R will be different elements, not the same element. What does it mean onto? onto شفتون شلون عرفنا الفانكشنز؟ قلنا كل element في الدومين يكون عنده image في الكودومين. الonto صايرة بالعكس، إنه لازم كل element في الكودومين يكون عنده element mapped to it، يعني يكون image to an element in the domain. بمعنى ثاني الرينج يكون الكودومين. So what does it mean range؟ الرينج معناته images all together, set of all images. Let's see this drawing. This is a function لأن كل element في الدومين mapped. كل element عنده سهم طالع منه معناته it has an image. Now I want to check if this is onto or not. I will look over the elements in codomain. كل element في الكودومين mapped عنده arrow جاي إليه is an image considered to be an image. 4 yes, 2 yes, 5 yes. So our range here is 4 to 5. The codomain also 4 to 5. So the codomain is equal to the range. الرينج هو مجموعة الإيمج كلها مع بعض. So this is onto. كل element في الكودومين عنده سهم جاي إليه. So it's considered to be an image. Is mapped to an element in the domain. بس نطالع الكيس الثاني. No, it is not onto. Why? Because here it's a function R, B, M كلهم عندهم arrows طالعين منهم. So all of them are mapped. All of them has images. Is this onto? No, because 7 is not mapped to any element here. 3 is not mapped to any element with the domain. So we have only 4 to 5. This is our range, while the codomain is the whole set 4, 2, 5, 7 and 3. متى ما كان في عندي element في الكودومين مو مرتبط بelement في الدومين معناته it is not onto. So it's very important to know what is your domain, what is your codomain. Okay, so now we want to test if we understand very well the definition of one-to-one or onto. So the given definition is functions. No need to check. Given to you that if x is a function equal to 3x minus 4, and this function from R to R. So our domain is real number and our codomain is also the real number. Usually في اللينير definitions هاي اسميها linear definition لأن الx إلى power 1. So this linear definition إذا كانت from R to R it will be 1 to 1 and on 2. But now we will show you how to test. If I want to test it 1 to 1, we said the general definition of 1 to 1 said if A is equal to FB معناته A is equal to B. وكأنه we prove it directly. We assume إن if A is equal to FB, we have to show that A is equal to B. يعني I will assume the premise and I will try from the premise to show that A is equal to B. So I will say let if A is equal to FB. What is FA? What is the image of A? It is the substitution of A in this definition. 3A minus 4 equal 3B minus 4, the image of B. Now I have two sides. I will try to conclude in A equal to B. لو plus 4 to both sides بتخلص من minus 4. I will divide both sides to over 3. I will يعني remove the 3. So I will get in A equal to B. It is 1 to 1. Is it onto؟ الأونتو معناته كل element في الكودومين and the image is mapped to an element in a domain. So الكودومين بالقصد من الكودومين images of 3x minus 4 whatever the value of x. So this is the codomain. Instead of writing fx أبحط y. So I will say that this definition is equal to y equal 3x minus 4. Now, can I calculate the x for every y? Can I calculate the x for every y? So I will try to put the x in one side in a form of y. بلاحظ ان ال x equal to 4 plus y over 3. Now, for every x real number, the result for every, y as a real number, the result is x, and x is also a real number, belong to the domain. So it is onto. متى هاي الديفينيشن بيكون not onto؟ لما تكون from z to z واحط ال x in form of y واعبر عن y بقيمة z integer. دائما بحصل قيمة integer. No, sometimes I will not get an integer number. So in this case, will not be onto. بس لأنها from r to r, it will be onto and 1 to 1. Now, if you draw the sketch of the function, you will find it in this way. This is how we draw the linear. نطلع نقطة تقاطع ال x، نقطة تقاطع ال y. Okay, and then we draw the arrow. You will find that now the y-axis, will be the set of the codomain, and the x-axis, this is your domain في الدروينج. بتلاحظوا ان كل قيمة في x إليها image في y. So it is function. وبعدين بتلاحظون ان if you select any image يعني رحتوا خديتون أي قيمة على ال y-axis, you will find it is mapped only to one element on the x-axis, ف it is 1 to 1. وبتلاحظون كل القيم على ال y-axis mapped. معناته it is onto. So this is how we check from mathematically, or how to check it from the drawing of the graph. نوع ثاني من ال definitions هما ال quadratic definition اللي يكونون power 2. إذا كانت definition from R to R بتكون not 1 to 1 not onto usually. لازم تشوفون الديفينيشن أول الدومين والكودومين. إذا كانت from R to R usually it will not be 1 to 1, it will not be onto. Let's check how to check if it is not 1 to 1 or 1 to 1. ال 1 to 1 ال not أو كانت 1 to 1 أو كانت not 1 to 1 لازم نحط ال general definition. If A أو في حالتنا GA is equal to GB, that means A is equal to B. So I will say let GA is equal to GB and try to show that A is equal to B. If I put إن GA is equal to GB وعوضت عن A ب A square minus 2 و B square minus 2 is the image of B وأحذف 2 from the both sides by adding 2 to both sides, I will get إن A square is equal to B square. Can we conclude from that إن A is equal to B? لا. Why? Because the square of 2 is equal to the square of minus 2. But 2 is not equal to minus 2. So it is not 1 to 1. Is it onto? احنا نعرف ان ال drawing of x square minus 2 بيكون فيها peaking point. ال peaking point, this is when ال x equal to 0. What is the value of y? لما ال x equal to 0, the value of y is equal to minus 2. So there is, if you look over the drawing here, it will be the intersection here with the y-axis. When the y equal minus 2, the x will be equal to 0. Your drawing will be something like that. All the values here below minus 2 has no images. Sorry, these are not images for any x. So in this case, any one of these is a good counterexample to say it is not onto. فأي قيمة أقل من minus 2, minus 4, minus 6, minus 5, minus 10, minus 100, if you substitute, you will get that the x map to it nothing, something not real number, something negative under the root. So this is will be a good counterexample. So here to say a quadratic definition is not one-to-one, is not onto, just give a counterexample, okay, is enough. And in your homework number 3, you have a problem similar to this one, quadratic definition for a function. Another type similar to the quadratic, the absolute. If you look over the drawing of the absolute, it will be something like that. So from a drawing, you know that for every every image here is mapped to 2. يعني مثلا الامage 6 إليها مرتبطة ب -4 ومرتبطة ب 8. So 8 and -4, both of them mapped to the same image 6. So it is not one-to-one. من تشوفون في تماثل في صورة الدروينج, it is not one-to-one. And you can give any two counter example. Okay, من ساعة أعطيتكم -4 and 8, هني ممكن أعطيكم 0 و 4. Again, they will give you the same image. Is it onto? Again, it is not onto. نفس الquadratic لأنها absolute, يعني our range is all the positive values. But actually لو كان هنا حاط لي R plus union 0, it will be onto. But actually our codomain is R, يحتوي على positive and negative values. فكل negative values, they are not mapped to any element in the domain. يعني كل القيم اللي موجودة هنا بتلاحظون هي مو مرتبطة بأي قيمة على ال x-axis. معناته that means this is not onto also. فدائما الابسوليوت الكوادراتيك لهم نفس التعامل لو كانت from R to R. مجرد أغير هني أحط إلى R plus union 0 automatic بتصير on 2 لأن I don't care about the negative values, they are not in my codomain. Okay, so here how to check on 2 will 1 to 1. This is a very small tutorial. I focus on 3 different type of functions: linear, quadratic, absolute, and then you can apply it on another type of functions. ألاحظ أن الطلبة يفهمون من drawing more than proving. So choose whatever easier for you. Do you have any more questions regarding this small tutorial? This is only for today, a very small tutorial to help you solving the homework. The homework should be submitted by Wednesday. It contains 3 problems. One of them related to the function, and exactly it's related to this type, the quadratic. Okay? As I said, if it is from R to R, usually it will not be 1-to-1, not on 2. So to say it is not 1-to-1, to say it is not on 2, just give counter example. Explain it with a counter example why it is not 1-to-1, why it is not on 2. This is for today, and I will see you inshallah on Wednesday with a tutorial with the induction. If your instructor start with your induction, we will have tutorial on the induction.